Siyabonga ngethuba esilitholayo siyafisa ukuthi sibingelele ngenkulu inhlonipho to the deputy chairperson Mr. Kalenjani of COMISA, all board members of COMISA, Eric, my brother, my yeah, my colleague, my comrade, my everything. It's good to be with you again, sharing the stage. I also wish to acknowledge the important guests that are here, all the speakers that are here, bazosfundisa, bazoskhulisa, all the captains of industry, family members, my students, government officials, representatives of our public entities, Usis Figiswa, who's the GM in the department. Ladies and gentlemen, ngiyafisa ukubonga kakhulu Mthiane zondo ngethuba esilitholayo. First of all, I do really wish to express my appreciation for the leadership of COMISA, the past and the present board members. I'm really excited that we are here today. I missed last year's night, and my HOD at the time was there representing us. And I said this time around, ngizokwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi ngikhona ukukhombisa ukusekela kwami lo msebenzi omuhle kangaka owenziwayo by COMISA. The speakers before me have spoken at length about various aspects of COMISA and the industry. And I'm encouraged by the fact that we're celebrating 10 years down the line in the association with COMISA as the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs. I'm encouraged because in many instances, many times, tina abanye abantu sifuna izinto ezisheshayo, sifuna izinto ezilula. We don't want difficult things. We don't want to sweat, to struggle. And without the perseverance, without the working hard of the COMISA leadership team, yonke, we would not be celebrating those 10 years. But also we will not be celebrating this international footprint that COMISA has been able to manage over these years. And I think those people that are out there flying the flag of COMISA, flying the flag of our country and our province, to them we are very grateful. Perhaps I would also like to say that as we reflect on the association work over the years, we also still need to be frank and ask ourselves the questions whether can we safely say that the sector has reached the level that we desire the sector to be at. And it is true that the 2 decades of transformation and deracialization of our economy and opening of business opportunities to the previously disadvantaged or excluded Black South Africans at large, we're still very far from realizing that objective. And as we start this new decade, I believe that it is opportune that we place tangible programs that we want to see in the promotion of the entrepreneurship within the creative industry. And I'm very excited that the speakers that spoke before me here spoke about the whole issue of the value chain. Because my question is, how many people here in this room are involved in the value chain of the creative industry. And how many people have got registered businesses within the industry of the creative industry? How many people are doing business with the private sector, with the public sector, in the industry of the creative industry? And I think these are some of the questions that we need to be asking ourselves if we are to succeed in turning around the tables about the real economic transformation makuthiwa umnotho mabuyele ezandleni zethu. Angeke ubuye nje ngokuthi sihlale etafuleni, but uzobuya ngokuthi we work, we sweat, we think, and we do what we are supposed to do in order for us to realize the changes in the economy of our country. The part that I like most and that made me say we really need to still work hard to promote the work of COMISA, but also this creative industry, is that we have identified as government services that need to be provided by small and medium enterprises. We have identified areas where we need to support small and medium enterprises. The fact that we need to produce more of Abo Simon Mabunu, Mabunu Sabela, Abo Johnny Clark, Abo Alfred Nokwe, Abo Babu Umshengu, all the late heroes and heroines of our country. And that is not going to happen if we only know ukuthi owethu umsebenzi ukuthi sihlale sicule siqede ukucula sihambe sekhaya siyodla silale. But it's going to happen when we begin to look at the presentation such as the one that was done by Mr. Raphael here today, and as well as the work and the presentation that was done by Usisina Kwepile. And if we begin to look at those areas, because for us as the economic development and tourism, that's what we are interested in, the business of business. Yes, we want you to sing, it's good, people sing and we dance, but that's not enough. Because we want to know who is benefiting from that. What is the business of that business? And I think Mr. Raphael Benza really nailed it by identifying those areas that, as the department, we would want to see COMISA continuing to concentrate on. Issues of 4RR, for instance, are the issues that we need to occupy ourselves with. It is said sometimes, my students with all flocking to our universities, bengayi ngisho kuma-technicons, and mabaya lapha kuma-universities, you even go and see incwadi esizifundayo laphayana. Sifunda incwadi kufanele ngabe zazifundwa 40 years ago, not the books that we are supposed to be reading now, and that we're supposed to be preparing ourselves in 20 years more to come. Izinto that are still occupying us are not the things that where the economy, where the world, where the globe is really focusing on. And that's where we would like to see COMISA really helping us and holding our hand and really assisting our artists and the whole of the industry to focus on. I spoke to the general manager, Butando, about this issue. You could see we have, for instance, the World Football Summit that is going to be held here in KwaZulu-Natal. And the World Football Summit, it's not about football. It's not about soccer. Well, we call it soccer here, because football, I think in America they call it football, but it's called the World Football Summit. The World Football Summit is a summit that discusses the business of football. And it's attended by the captains of industry. It's attended by the general managers of clubs, the club managers, the club administrators, the owners of the clubs, the people that are involved in drawing the stadiums, in establishing the new technology, the techniques of playing, and everything that's got to do with the business of football. And that's one of the areas that we have not even touched the surface of as Africa, as South Africa, let alone here in the province. And same what we are talking about here today. Oguti, when you talk about the industry, we have not even touched the surface of the business of the creative industry, the whole value chain of the industry, and where are we starting? Because yes, kugcina sekufika ukudla etafuleni, but before kufike ukudla etafuleni kuqale kwaba imbewu, and kwaqala kwatshalwa kwaba umanyolo, kwaba amagejwa, kwaba bogandaganda, kwaba iyo yonke into. And that's where the money is. By the time it comes here to be rice or mushrooms, that's not where the money is. The money is gone already. And those are the things that we want as well to try and focus on various sectors of the economy as this department. As I was saying, that the World Football, abantu abazoba nenhlanhla that will be attending, will really have their eyes open to the whole industry, because in Spain, the football contributes, we are told, more than 4% of the GDP of Spain in Madrid, just in Madrid alone. And we know how much the brand Madrid is, and how much money, billions of monies, go into that. But they don't just go into when they play, and they go behind, from the apparel to the insignia, to the broadcasting, to the machinery, to everything. And that's what we also want to, that's why we had to bid for this World Football Summit to be held here in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal, for the first time in the world that it's going out of Europe. And to come here to really open our eyes ukuthi for ibhola lize libe ibhola ukuthi uzokwazi ukukhahlela lihambe distance engaka, what goes into that, what goes into the drinks that people drink, what goes into what, all the value chain that really can create massive amount of jobs. And I think that's why I'm saying I'm so impressed by the presentation that was done by Mr. Benza, because it talks about tech, that we're talking fourth industrial revolution now, and we're saying about first industrial revolution, about second, about third, besingekho, abanye bethu bebangakazalwa. And manje, the fourth industrial revolution is happening when we are here. But are we taking advantage of the fourth industrial revolution? Or sisazosala futhi njengoba sasala ngesikhathi sobandlululo siphinde sibheke futhi idlule phambi kwethu sikhona. And those are the things, again, that talks to the technology, it talks to the tech, it talks to all these instruments that we see here. Ukuthi zenziwe kuphi, zenziwe ubani. It talks to the clothing. Mase nigqokile senibahle senicula lapha estage, zenziwe ubani. The artistic, the whole thing about where it starts before kuze kufike lapho abantu sebe enjoy the whole package on stage, and how do we ensure that we get involved in that. I'm happy to say that we actually have students as KwaZulu-Natal. We're going to have about 1,000 of the students when the program has been rolled over and when the program is finished. And these students are being taught, Mr. Benza, on coding. They're being taught on robotics, they're being taught on app development, they're being taught on 3D printing. And I was sharing with somebody that the one exciting thing I was saying to Tando, they've just come up with, they're going to graduate now in April. And we would want UNISA and the industry to be the first takers of those students, because they've been, they've been taught using the money yakahulumeni, and abanye babo, there were hundreds of them. Now we're left with about 80 or so. The industry and the business and private sector say because if we know what but now we are saying we should be opening our own businesses, as you are saying. Now we're talking about the cloud, for instance. Lucky, as the Department of Economic Development and Tourism and Environmental Affairs, we have our own cloud. The Duet Trade Port has our own South African cloud, where we can cloud our things, not to cloud with Trump, because all of us, I'm sure, we're all like .coms and the very few of you here who are .za. By the way, every time you log into that .com or .whatever, that money is going to that country where you are logging in. As we are all like or .com or Google or Bani, all the information here to ibekwe lapha manga decide nje time right kulela ngekhanda njengoba athishe yonke lento, we will all perish. And those are the things that we want our kids to come up with. We want our own learners, our own students, to do our own coding, to do our own robotics, to do our own apps. In fact, they've just designed, one group from that group have just designed through 3D printing, they've just designed a prosthetic for animals. And it's the first of its kind that we are now going to have animals getting prosthetic, whether it's a leg or whatever. And they are going on to do more and more projects as they do, as they learn there in the school. So I think it is very important that we then take some of those learners so that they can really start doing work for us as an industry. They can produce our own staff as an industry. We have a lot of companies that come to our province. They manufacture a lot of things that they manufacture. Be there, we now have the manufacturer of the first mobile phone, Imara phone, that is manufactured here at the Dubai Trade Port. But there are still a lot of components of that phone that are still, we get them outside of our country. And we want all those things, which is Tolela. We have the company that is manufacturing ama meters for electricity and water. And the whole country that is using, all of you using prepaid meters of electricity or water, the company that manufactures now is here. But a lot of those components, they're still getting them overseas. And those are the opportunities that we want our own people to design those through the 3D printing, through the coding, through the apps, through everything, to ensure that we get into those businesses. So my message here to all of you today is that there's a lot of business that we need to talk about. We need to talk about the whole value chain of the creative industry. We have introduced through our film commission that it's not enough that we go siyofuna abantu ukuthi bazoshutha ama-movies here in KZN. Or, of course, we do have a few movies that are now being developed by us here in KZN. But it's not enough because the value chain is still not with us. From the material that is used there, to the cameras, to everything, to the wardrobes, to everything. A lot of those things are still not being done by us. So we really need to sit back and how do we ensure that the industry, the whole value chain of the industry, as Mr. Benza was saying, I mean, abantu abayenza ama-booking, I'm sure sibooka nabo Taba Gayikhonjwa, I'm sure silale endaweni zabo Taba Gayikhonjwa, sidla izinto zabo, you know, everything that's got to go into business. And we are not creating our own economy. And even those that try to do, to start the economy, because consumers, we rush into things of other people and we shy away from the things they do. I mean, we have one guy, Esimakele Bakery, Enanda. He does a lot of cakes and bread and everything else. But if you look at the numbers, zokuthi fanele ngabe almost bonke abantu basithenga laphaya izinkwa, amakhekhe and everything. But yet we now have checkers who want to say ufuna ukuthi manje abhakele ucheckers kuphela angasabhakele omunye umuntu because of i-product yakhe ngendlela egood ngakhona. There we go. Our whole things are gone. It's now going to be, you know, but if you think about those things, we lock them into us. Now we are going to be buying a bigger machine for him, and because now that he's getting a lot of businesses, we need to get him a bigger machine. But still, the raw material, of doing that business. Saying whether you're talking painting, we are doing right now a lot of detergents, a lot of toilet paper and pulp, things that we buy machines for young people, for community members, even yourselves. You must open your businesses. The papers that we use, the toilet paper, the writing paper, and all these things that we need to produce. But once they see we've locked that market because the raw material shoots up so that you don't get profits. But those are all the things that need us to then open our businesses so that when we get into the industries, we're not just getting to the industries as just consumers, but we get to the industries because we are the ones who must create the whole value chain to work for us, not to work for other people. So I was happy as well to hear you talking about the cross-border touring that artists do. I don't know how many country agreements do we have as a province, do we have as municipalities, the cross-border agreements, the MOUs, the MOAs, and all the agreements that we have with many countries. How are we using those agreements to work for us, to work for you, and to open those channels so that those people, those agreements work for all the sectors of our industries? They don't only work, we're talking about a trader on this and that, but the value chain of the whole of that country agreements that we do. So I'm happy to hear that we do have within our department the business incubation centers. We have the ICT hubs that we are creating. I'm happy to say that we also are very much involved as the department in ensuring that the province of KwaZulu-Natal gets connected. Eric, we're going to be launching our connection at Mgungundlovu district. We're going to be connecting a number of people there through the internet connection. And you will see how many hotspots that we've created in various areas and that we continue to connect a number of communities. But what are we consuming in those phones when we are connecting into those internet? We're not consuming our own products. The adverts that are there, they're not ours, they're marketing somebody else. They're not marketing. The minute you log in there, you're not marketing any one of us, not a single one of us get marketed there. And yet this is our own thing. It's done with our own money by your own government. And I'm saying there's a lot of opportunities that we are not using. The virtual reality as part of the Internet of Things, the robotics, when we go and market ourselves to the tourism exhibitions outside of the country, I don't think, Eric, we have even a single virtual reality that we use of our own artists. Where in our exhibition stand, we have virtual reality that shows people to come and see our artists so that we say, hey, what you see there, come and see it live at home. And we market our industry and we market our artists. So there's so many opportunities that I'm saying we need your content, Kumisa, to get into virtual reality so that when we market, when we go for exhibitions, we market our artists using the virtual reality, but also we continue to talk about the business of artists and the industry as a whole. I mean, you spoke about the publicity, the management. There are very few young people who are in the legal, sector who service us as the industry. Rather, bayapuma, they go and do commercial, and they leave us here singakwazi nokufunda ama-contracts, because of course mayifika le contract sewujaha ukuthi nje yo nayi-contract ngitholile yasayina, and you've signed your whole life, you've signed everything, and you're left with almost nothing. That is why, for us, if we are to see this industry being a sector to be reckoned with, I've heard enough of the saying, ama-artists wetashonile, sicule, sidanse, sithi bahambe emhlabeni behlupheka. Gone are those days. Siyazenza ukuthi siyenze kanjalo. Because if you look at the trend in the international space, artists are not only involved in music, they're involved in a lot of other businesses. And that's what we want to see you doing as well. Don't just get involved in just singing because my voice leyiphela shukuthi kuphelile ngawo. Mawudlala ibhola walimala enyaweni kusho ukuthi kuphelile ngawo. We cannot have that. We need to be involved in business of business. I call it business of business because it talks not about the business that we see here, but it talks about where does it all start? Iqale mbewini lapho iqala khona ukuthi kwale mbewu lesitshalayo siyithathe siyithenge kubani, ithengwe kosibani bani. Kwale manyolo le ayenzwanga yithi. Mara sineyinkomo zigcwele wonke amaqele size siyibize ngamagama siyishayela amaqele siyijabulele iy'nkomo zethu. And yet that's money. That's money that we are supposed to be making money, we're supposed to be making businesses, and a lot of things that we have as zethu that we end up sizihambisa. Abo sisifikiswa here we started in the Skin and Heights. Sibiza isikhumba ke thina bona bayibiza Skin and Heights ngesilungu. Is Kumba. Starting from zingaki imbuzi nje njengoba namhlanje kuyi-weekend ney'nkomo ezihlatshwayo. Zingaki. Futhi zihlatshwa yithi, azihlatshwa yibo. And yet, where is those kumbas? Zigcina zihlele eduthwaneni laphayana. Now we've got workshops that they've been doing around where you teach people how ukuthi inkomo mangabe ihlinzwa isikhumba masiskipha kanjani so that kube isikhumba esizokwazi ukuthi siyenze ngaso imali. Noma esembuzi, noma esemvu, noma esana. That's money. Now we have people who started businesses, abanye who even go and volunteer ukusiza ukuhlinza, abanye they have vans, abahamba baqoqa ikhumba, bayihambise, and it's their own businesses. Lezo khumba ziyahamba ziyokhava sofa, ziyokhava yonke into efanele edinga isikhumba, from the shoes to everything. Toyota is just decided that they're now going to manufacture the new kumbis la in South Africa. Angeke sa manufacture in Japan. Lama kumbis hamba ngawo zonke insuku. Now the question is, do we have enough of lezi kumba ukuthi sakhe lezayitulo zalama Toyota amakhumbi efanele afakwe ikhumba efanele lezayimoto leziyana ukuthi zikhavwe? Do we have enough of that? We do not have. And yet yithi asidla zonke le inkomo lezi. Abantu abakayikhonja badla inkomo bona every weekend like us. And yet our money goes to them. And we are saying, let us change that mindset. Let us look at ourselves as a brand. Let's look at ourselves as businesses. Let's look at ourselves as serious entrepreneurs who must change the status quo. But we're not going to change the status quo if sizojabulela nje ukuthi ugqoke iteko elibizayo elikabani leteki lakhiwo bani. It's not yours, for goodness sake. And that money is not yours. Somebody else's money. What about us? Asizu blame anybody else. We must blame ourselves because we don't want to do our own. Sifuna izinto zabanye abantu. And sithanda ukuthi singazivaluishi thina ukhona bethu. So we are here as the department. We will support you all the way. We have a lot of funding available to support small businesses. You apply, you go when next time when Boregile, stop ukuthi shoot ukudla, lokhu ifaka Facebook nokudla and the drinks. Do business with that phone. Do business with that phone. Go to Operation Vula website and go there and apply for funding to open your own businesses, to go and register your own businesses so that you can make money. There's a lot of things that we have set aside as government that we want to buy from our own people. The school nutrition program, Sani kwa yona ukuthi asafuna ukuthi ikole manje ama-veg, saqala ngama-veg, ama-vegetables ayangasathengwa kwabanye abantu. We must buy vegetables from our own people. Banikwe imbewu abantu bathiwa asilime sona. Now each district, you find that they want like so many 50,000 tons of otamatisi, maybe per month. 50,000 tons of anyanisi per district, not like, and tons of that. Just for school nutrition. Sahluleka. Kwafanele buyele ukubona labo ntaba bayikhonja kothenga bona otamatisi na anyanisi. I mean really now. When are we going to? Because kwamanje baqalile abanye, yes, bayalima, bayawenza utamatisi, anyanisi, amazambane, amakabishi, but we are not able to get enough quantities for the schools. We have more than 4,000 schools here in KwaZulu-Natal. And in those schools, and local, we have took a conscious decision that we want those things which is 10. That's a market already. You don't need to go usayofuna market. There is a market already waiting for you. But we cannot produce otamatisi, anyanisi, namazambane. We can't. So angakafiki enyameni ke, angakafiki kokunye okuningi. So as people within the industry, my message to you is that open your own businesses as well. You are in the creative industry, there's a lot of opportunities that are available in that industry, but also don't only look at ngathi safaka amahanisi njengakuqala. Ake sivuleleke nathi and think and be able to be creative, njengoba ni creative as an industry. It is a creative industry because you create, because you think, because you have this ability, because you have this talent. And I'm wanting to say, i-talent lethu alingaqali ligcine lapha esilimita khona. Let us stretch our talent to be more than what we've been able to see, even ngamehlo wethu. The things that must be solutions are things that have not been invented. We don't have apps that we want. I use the WhatsApp as an example. I use the internet of things as an example. All those things akuzona ezale kwezinye indawo. But we want now ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi senze ezethu izinto. So in the process of preserving our own cultures as a nation, as a people, I'm saying let us secure our identity. Let us secure our dignity, let us secure our culture for the sake of our own children and for the sake of Izulane that are coming. Let us be pioneers to say at that Kumisa celebration of the 10th year, things change for the better for us. As Safan Nabantu Singenesi, and what we've been able to be exposed to will help us leapfrog from where we are to be something else in the future. So we want to see a lot of instruments, ziyenziwa lapha. We want to see a keyboard, we want to see a lot of things ziyenziwa la. Not ukuthi sihambe sozithenga kwezinye indawo, because we have the brands that we can market. Those brands to be the brands of our own. So we've come here to say we want to buy the original music. You spoke about the streaming. Again, akuzona those things that we are using. So the students that are coming out, please, at the end of April, we have 80 of them. Let us not lose them to the private sector. Let us take them and put them into our companies as interns, so that they can start creating our own products, our own thing, indigenous things that's there that talks to us. You know, things that you are not going to be ashamed of. You know, usijava makakhuluma ngeenkomo, akhuluma ngorondo vele, akhuluma ngani. He was saying to me the other day, yazi uyafisa ukuthi makacula ngorondo vele, ube khona urondo vele stage. But makathi uyayikhuluma leyo nto kulaba manathi yeyi ngeke sikwazi ukuthi ngeke ikwazi ukuthi ingene leyo nto lana. For safety reasons and what reasons, 101 reasons why it shouldn't happen. But this is ours. This is us, and that's what even the international world wants. Banabo o Jay-Z babo, ababafuna bethu Jay-Z. They want our own authentic. Abafuni izinto abanazo, you know. I tell my colleagues ukuthi yes banalo ulwandle emazweni abo and oluhle oludlulo lwethu. But when tourists come here, they want the experience. They want the homestays. They want to see ukuthi sidlani. They want to see ukuthi sikhuluma kanjani, sidansa kanjani, sihlala kanjani endaweni zethu masihlele kahle. That's what they want to see. But we're still pushing them ukuthi baye kuba Hilton, baye kubani, because we're not creative, because we are not, you know, when we ask for people to apply, we ask people to apply to Operation Vula, manibona laphayana go apply. Almost 80% of people applied to do catering. I mean, really? Really? Bafuna ama-plate, nento zokudecorata, namabhodwe, nezitsha. Hey, there's not a single person who wants to buy that house that is worth 2.5 million because if ufuna ukuyijika yenze B&B. Yet, if you travel from here to Ndwedwe, there's not a single B&B. Mapumulo, Akongishindawe 1, there's not a single hotel. Going right down until Uzufika Richards Bay. But there's not a single person. Go up in the Drakensberg. Where come a B&B's with? And yet that's where tourists are phelela khona. Sigcina nje ngokwabona hamba ngeimoto sithi indawo zabo zalaba abantu abanje. But what about us? Because these things are our own things, but we're not enjoying them. So I really want to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, ukuthi, we need to be aggressive in wanting to be who we are, not to mimic other people. I want us to respect our artists. I want us to respect ourselves as artists as well. And take ourselves as a brand, singazibukeli phansi, singazithathi kancane, and let us use ukumisa as a step, lesi step esinikezwe sona, ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sikhuphuke kwiladder, sibone nathi sesingabantu abakhulu, sesingama-brand aziwayo. Let us be selfish with our own things. Let us not just give our own things ourselves, nje give kalula kanjalo to everybody to exploit us. Let us create our own. As government, we will support you. We are here to share with you the knowledge. We are always available to share information that is available. We will make all the efforts to market you, to give you the platforms, to give you the support. But you can't only come to us, your government, of course, we don't have enough events to everybody. That is why we're saying open businesses, create things, be the people who are going to produce things, as opposed to just only looking at the industry that you are at. Open our eyes, let's be driven really by where our country is going. Let's use the 4th Industrial Revolution. Let's use the ITC, because the day and the globe right now is such that without the connectivity that we're trying to roll out as KwaZulu-Natal, so that all our people are connected. And as we connect people, the small, medium enterprises that we want to create, sifuna abantu abazokhanda ama-mobile phone, we want people who are going to sell ama-data bundles. We now have a digital terrestrial. I don't know how many of you, even Emakai, have got the digital terrestrial. Because with the digital terrestrial, you don't even need to have your multi-choice with the digital terrestrial. And imahala, by the way, and with the connectivity that we are rolling out, you're supposed to be connecting your own TV at home so that you have a digital terrestrial and you are able to get more exposure, more connection. That's why this connectivity, we're saying it comes with a lot of jobs. We need people who are going to install the digital things. We need people who are going to be connecting, rolling out the fiber optic, and doing a lot of other things that we want to see small people in our communities doing. So congratulations to those who are graduating today. We wish you everything of the best, but we are saying you have not even started to realize your potential. The COMISA has given you the platform, COMISA has given you the space, but it is upon you to use that space. The presenters, our presenter today, I'm so impressed with all the presenters, our presentile, the information Wamina engifundile today, the information that I've got today really is the information that you will never get anywhere without having platforms like this. So on behalf of all the team at here, as well as on behalf of our government, we wish you everything of the best as an industry. May you continue to be the best that you are. Thanks.